All right, guys, it is Wednesday, the 5th of October. I'm going to try and have a very quick recap today. So let's start with the S&P. So Monday was a very shock reversal after the ugly close on Friday, and then we had some chatter over the weekend about Credit Suisse going, you know, potentially bankrupt. And I think those fears are justified. So not just Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank and others, they're all leveraged up with all these derivative, just horrible loans and all that, just a product of low interest rate environment. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was several Lehman Brothers in several countries. But anyway, typical market, totally surprises everyone, goes back up. We had a double bottom flush taking place. So Monday, strong. Tuesday, very strong. Closed the day, high of day, basically. So I was expecting continuation. But to be honest, we had such a lot of a move up the last two trading days that it doesn't surprise me. We had a sideways day today. Now it was red, the markets were red, but really not by much, not even down 1%. They were at some point, but intraday it bounced very strong, closed pretty high, near high of day. And actually the markets did venture higher than yesterday's high, also bullish. And that was towards the end of I saw these circles. That was towards the end of day, sort of just popped up and then came back down. In all of them, just popped up and came back down. So for me, the markets are bullish still, especially given the late action. Tomorrow, what I think is going to happen, I think we go higher. I don't know if we get all the way to resistance 2. So this is where I think we're going ultimately. Now, I actually don't know what news events are expected tomorrow. I haven't checked that out. I should. I'll do it after this video, actually. But Friday, I think it's NFP. That's a big one. Non-farm payroll. That will really decide. I mean, if it's we'll see if the market takes bad news as good news and good news as bad news. Because if it's bad news, then maybe the Fed won't raise rates. Therefore, let's buy stocks. And if the news is good, it's the market can still take rate increases. Let's see. The market sort of goes through these eras where bad news is good news is bad news. It's kind of stupid. That's what happens when the market is run by central banks, ultimately, which has been the case for 20 years. So let's see what happens. I think it's basically bullish still. This was a healthy sort of sideways action, just chopping everyone up. And tomorrow, I think we go up, bar any news. And then Friday, I think it'll be a bit too much to ask for the markets to get all the way here, resistance 2 in one day. It's possible, but I think we'll sort of go to maybe 380, maybe a bit higher, 380 to 382. And then Friday, we can venture here. But again, we have non-farm payroll. I still think I'm bearish. The market's still, the Fed is still raising rates. And it doesn't matter if you think they're going to cut rates, and I think they will, which is why I'm in gold and sort of commodities, generally speaking. But I still think it will go, for all the markets will go lower before that day happens. I think we're weeks away from that. So yeah, I'm, just to stay with short terms, I think we go here, then back down. If we go even higher and break out, oh my God, that's so good. Then we hit here and definitely go down. There'll be a lot of resistance here. I'd love that to be the case because all my stocks will also be up and I can just sell a lot more, and then I'll be super bearish, and I'd love to buy more back and more back here. So that's the S&P, 3% to next resistance. I don't think it will do it tomorrow, but maybe by Friday. The Nasdaq, I mean, they're all very similar. It's it doesn't have as much to go before it hits resistance, but maybe it gets to around here by tomorrow. But I still think by Friday we hit the top resistance. Dow Jones, Russell 2000, they're all pretty similar. The Nasdaq, Dow, and Russell. It's the SPY that's sort of, I'm not going to say lagging, but it needs to make a bit more of a percentage move before it hits this resistance point. So yeah, sideways move, higher tomorrow, and then Friday is the sort of unknown because of the news. But then again, I don't know what news there is tomorrow. And then there are things happening all over the place. I mean, not nuclear, but ballistic missile tests from North Korea. Poland wants to have nukes, I mean, the algorithms are really nice and chart patterns are great and they work, but you can have breaking news now and plus you have these Lehman events just around the corner. So yeah, the VIX will be doing the opposite. I think it will come back down. So I think the market goes up tomorrow. So therefore, I think we get back down at least below 28. I was looking for it to go below 28. As you can see, this resistance, although it wasn't, it did venture a little higher. Basically, it was perfect. You got to be rough about these things. Perfect resistance over here, just 32-ish. And I think we go back down to 28. We're basically there already. But we closed low of day. We didn't close high of day on the markets, but we closed low of day on the VIX. So I think we'll go back down to basically under 28 around this area. Between 26 and 28, let's say. At which point we'll be also at resistance in the markets. And then this will bounce as the markets drop. That's what I think is going to happen. With the markets, let's look at yields. Yields actually went up a little bit today. The 1 year was very strong. I didn't really understand that, to be honest. I thought it was a bit of a bug, but there we are back at highs. The 2 year, one little bounce, another 1 or 2 days, and we're back at highs. Again, another reason for my thesis as to why in 1 or 2 days the markets could go back down again, because the most important thing is yields. And I think we're just 1 or 2 days from testing the highs. And I can't see how the market can go up if yields, especially the 10 year, is breaking 4%. I mean, forget it. 30 year also pretty strong. Even the British yields are going back up. I mean, the 30 year, look at this, how scare everyone. They spent all their ammunition just to see it bounce here. That'll be interesting to watch too. But anyway, yields, generally speaking, bouncing. That is an ominous sign for the markets. European yields, everyone. So yeah, we're probably 1 or 2 days away from testing the old highs. So that's the markets to go down. If that happens, definitely pay attention to yields, most important asset. The dollar, similar to yields, it bounced, so it hit our nice resistance. I was saying 110 to 111, basically hit 110 perfectly, so had a nice bounce, beautiful technicals, and obviously this coincides with the long-term resistance point over here, and the longer term it is, and the more time it hits, the more credible it is, and this is credible. So let's see. I mean, if the dollar goes down again, first of all, if it goes down, it's going to find support again at 110. But if it breaks 110, which I don't expect to happen, because in 1 or 2 days I expect the markets to go down, yields to go up, and therefore the dollar to go up. But if it were to go down, then we got support at 108. Now let's look at gold and silver. Gold and silver yesterday, to me, hit total resistance, especially gold. So we've got this downtrend line, very long term, hits many areas, very credible, plus the prior resistance over here. For me, it was, and plus we have this line that I drew yesterday just to further indicate it, but hit resistance. I expected it to go down. It did go down. Ignore these percentages. It went down more than that. I think it was down 1% in the end, but probably went down more. Went down almost 1.5%, closed down 0.5%. It's okay. But yeah, down still. Silver, and by the way, just gold, beautiful. I've sold on the way up. Remember, I trade mainly stocks in the GDX, GDXJ, so I'll probably cover what I'm about to say when I'm at that. But for me, gold is a serious buy. Long-term support here at 1670-ish. We dropped it and, total fake out and just flushed back up. This is a nice V. This is what you want to see as a washout. V bottoms are the best bottoms. To me, we can go back down. Imagine yields go up, dollar goes up, markets go down, everything comes down, including gold. As soon as we go back down under 1700, 1600, I'm buying this. I will be buying with the GDXJ. I've seen enough. I've seen enough, especially now gold has the better technical patterns to trade from, but silver, wow, that's the one you want to buy. Now, this has obviously been very strong. We have that 9% day, which has happened, I think, like, I don't know, 6 times in history, maybe more, but it's extremely rare, extremely rare. And not only did it have a 9% day, but, it was having a massive couple of bounce days before that. And even yesterday, it had a crazy move. So today's drop, and it dropped as predicted. It's quite obvious it was going to drop to me. I sold quite a lot yesterday. I mentioned that. So it dropped 5% at some point. That's a lot, but not shocking. And look, it hit prior sort of, if you look at it, this area was hitting constantly $20, $20 over here. And then, we break out, bound, come back down $20. I mean, it's just perfect. But then it rallied quite a lot. So that's nice and bullish. But still, end of the day, down 2%. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. For me, if we come back down, 80, I used to say 18. Well, I remember saying $18, and what a buy, just exactly on $18, just like here, exactly on $20. For me now, you got to move it up. It's too strong. I think if you get back down to $19 or 19.50, you, I'm going to start buying basically. If we go back down to 20 and start flushing it, and obviously it depends what the market's doing, but I'm buying silver stocks, not silver stocks from the GDX, GDXJ. But absolutely beautiful. Sold a lot on the way up. So I'm not going to be buying here because I probably sold some stocks while silver was around 20. But I sold most of it up here. I really did. Yesterday, I sold quite a lot. But I think once we drop sort of below 20, then I'll start very lightly getting back in, buying back what I sold up here, and then yeah, adding significantly to my portfolio. But that's probably 2 weeks away at least, and it's a bit too far away for me to think at the moment. I mean, I'm taking it really day by day, hour by hour. So yeah, silver down, absolutely expected, predicted. Just like gold. Now let's look at the gold and silver stocks. So GDX, I said this would underperform the markets. So if the markets go up, I expect the GDX to go up less, or maybe even be unchanged or red. And if the markets go down, I expect the GDX and GDXJ to be down more. That was the case. So I was right there. But to be honest, I expected it to be even weaker. It closed quite well. I mean, look, it's closing GDXJ closing at a high of day, only down not even 2%. GDX high of day down 1.5%. I mean, I'd expect that if the markets were up 0.5%, but the markets were actually down 0.5%. So for me, still very strong. Dip buying taking place. It takes the next sort of, okay, obviously the next resistance is still the same as the old resistance. So let's call it 26 on the GDX, and GDXJ will be 32, 32 and a bit, 32.3. Yeah, if the S&P and all that go up to the next resistance point, I think we'll get there. If the S&P goes there, I think we go back to where we were just basically yesterday. But for the GDX and the GDXJ to go one higher, so for the GDX to get to, let's say, 27.5, or the GDXJ to get to 35, that's going to take another 8% move, from their prior resistance. Or for the GDX, 5% move. For me, that would require, because we're tired in the mines, we've had a crazy run, basically just entered a new bull market. That would require, because I think the S&P will be here when GDX and GDXJ get to their first resistance, that would require the S&P breaking out to here. It's possible, of course it's possible, and I still think I think I've covered this already. If we get there, it's a sell, because it's the longer term bearish lower high. Just as when everyone was bullish here, I love this period, watching everyone bullish all over CNBC and all these really reputable investors, blah, blah, blah. Chow went all the way back down. You never heard from them again. They were buying Apple up here, and, what did you do to your Apple position? Never hear from them again. They're buying down here, of course. But if we go all the way up here, sell everything. Sell a lot of your core position. And that's what I'll be doing in GDXJ, because I think if we get here, that's what would be required for the GDXJ to get here. And I would be seriously trimming my position again. I'd be selling everything I've made from here, because I've sold this move all the way up here. So I don't need to buy right away. I'll be buying if we're sort of venturing down here, definitely here, lower, just little machine guns in. But if we go all the way up here, I'll trim a little bit, but I've already sold this area and I haven't bought anything today. So if I'm selling an area I've already sold, the same stock that I've already sold. So I don't really want to sell too much if we get here. So I'll sell very little, like 5%, some ridiculous, just so that I can say I've been here, done that. But if we go higher, 8% movement, then yeah, I'll sell. And what will I sell? I'll sell the amount of money I've made in each gold and silver related stock from here. So imagine I make, I don't know, $500 in one stock, 1,200 in another. Just from here to that, well, I'll sell that much from that stock. So that it's worth, so let's say EXK, one of the silver stocks I own. Let's say it's worth 5,000 when it's here after I sell. And all right, I'm not touching it anymore. It's worth 5,000. And then by the time it gets all the way up here, it's worth 6,200. So I've made 1,200. Well, I'll take out 1,200. So now it's worth 5,000 over here. That's the way I do it. I'll cover that in another lesson, but that's the way I do it, sort of to make sure I keep the same core value as long as the thesis doesn't change. And the thesis for me has not changed for gold and silver. But put money on the sidelines so that when there's a drop, I've got more cash to buy back. And that's what really allows you to compound your winnings. And it makes such a difference. It's better than just holding your investments for the duration of months and just, watching these wild swings that you can't take advantage of. And it's also good for your mental health, to be honest. So yeah, I don't want to do any sort of risk management session right here. I just wanted to cover the markets very quickly. So I think that's it really. I'll just finish on Bitcoin. And I'm going to finish with my disappointment in Bitcoin. So I thought if we took out this trend line, which we kind of did, I thought we could expect to move higher. Now, granted, the markets were down today, not by much, but down nonetheless. So yes, Bitcoin is also down, but to me, Bitcoin should have made a move already. I wanted to give it 1 or 2 extra days just in case, but it's just not enough for me. I don't own Bitcoin. I own a bit of and I did actually add yesterday to a crypto miner, not a lot. Hive. Hive is the crypto miner. But to me, I'm not going to sell it. It's not that much at all. It's not even worth what one of my gold mines is worth. So, and I've got like 16 or something gold mines, gold and silver mining companies. So it's really not that much. I'm looking for the flush to 13,000 to really start getting serious with that. But I bought because I thought we'd have a bit of a breakout, 22,500 the first zone, 25,000 the next one. But just as Bitcoin was acting here, markets were going up crazy. So Bitcoin was going up, but it wasn't going up much. And it's finding too much resistance around 25,000. And then as soon as the market starts to roll over, and it rolled over quite a lot, Bitcoin just went down. It didn't go down too crazy, but it was going down more than it was going up over here. And likewise here, the market's gone up quite a lot, right? Well, Bitcoin hasn't gone up that much. And I think, again, 1 or 2 more days of the market going up. So Bitcoin could start to move a little bit, but it's too little too late and just too weak. So unless tomorrow it just surprises, for me, if I was in Bitcoin, I would probably sell a little bit actually. I don't know. I would just hold what I've got maybe, but I wouldn't add, even though I added to a miner yesterday. I'm just pretty bearish. I don't know. I'm trading other stuff, but I just let's just say if the market starts to roll over, Bitcoin will roll over. And I don't think it'll take much to get to 17,500. And I don't think it's going to get to 17,500 and then just rally and do this V bottom that we saw in gold, just a strong sort of reversal. And okay, this is the bottom. I think we get to 17,500. We bounce around for a couple of hours, and the next day we're flushing to new lows, and that's when you've got my interest. I think Bitcoin needs to have a real flush. Like it needs to see several days where it's green whilst the markets are really red. That's when you can say, okay, Bitcoin is washed out. Maybe this is the bottom. But yeah, I'm pretty bearish actually. That's the summary of it. Anyway, I hope this wasn't too long. I want to do a quick video today. That was my recap. Please let me know what you think, etc., etc. Comment, please. It's quite encouraging when there's one or two comments. Otherwise, have good trading day tomorrow.